My name is Samuel. I'm here from a company called Blue Hector. Now, Blue Hector is an accounting firm that's based in Milton Keynes, and we specialize within the health and social care sector. We do what your normal accountant does, but we do it slightly differently. We actually offer what we call a virtual finance office. It's effectively all the functions that you need for you to run your care company virtually. Now we know as you're starting, you can't afford to have a fully fledged finance team in house. That's where we come in. To those who are interested in finding out more about how we work and what we have to offer, please do come see us. Our store is at the back. Now, without wasting or spending much time, the topic that I'm going to be talking about today is essentially just highlighting the fact that why healthcare directors need to own their financial responsibilities. That's the main topic of today, with a little bit of a twist, of course. And to those who are listening, please could you scan that on your screens? Those who can't scan because the poll is in front of you, could you kindly visit menti.com and then you enter the code 55108365. I'll repeat, 55108365. Have you all done it? Today, I'm going to talk about your responsibilities as a director when it comes to HMRC liability. So essentially, your responsibility when it comes to HMRC liability. I'm sure all in the room we know what HMRC is. I saw from the responses that you gave. And this is something that we have been seeing a lot throughout the course of this year. We have noticed a number of inquiries, unpleasant inquiries from the HMRC following up on debt, i.e. companies who owe, especially pay AYE liability. Now, when we talk of owning your financial responsibilities as a director, I'm sure most of you in here have signed financial statements before. I'm sure we've signed financial statements in here. Yeah. Perfect. Have we all been aware of what we're signing off? No. Yes, no. Some you trust us too much as your accountants that you essentially give us power and you forget who's actually ultimately responsible for what you're signing. Yeah. And these are some of the things that I just want to highlight here. Yes, I may be the accountant, but it is your responsibility as a director to make sure that you're keeping adequate financial record, not the accountant's, the director's responsibility. Now, why am I bringing this to your attention? Because sometimes I think you place too much trust or too much pressure, emphasis on your accountant that you expect them to. Of course, we share your responsibility, we share your load, but you want them to take all of it, which just doesn't work. And then it always comes to tax. Can you reduce my tax? Then we ask for invoices and receipts, which you do not have. And now you're giving us things of the house that you bought in Dubai, which has nothing to do with your company that you're running in the UK. It's also your responsibility to make sure that you're tax compliant, you're complying with your payroll. So your RTS submission each month, your payments to HMRC on the 22nd, it is your responsibility as a director. And of course, the biggest one, making sure that your staff are paid on time, accurately, and correctly each month or each week, depending on your pay cycle. Safeguarding funds and making sure that the business is a going concern, i.e., your business can continue to operate for the long foreseeable future. Again, delegation and accountability. One of the responsibilities that we see which lacks with most of our businesses. You are the single point of failure or success for your business. You do not delegate. If you're not there, your business does not move. Sounds familiar? Yeah, I see someone is listening. And essentially, for you to be responsible, what do you need to actually implement, or what are some of the key things that we always try to put emphasis on? And essentially here, I'm just going to hammer on systems, processes, and procedures. You need to make sure that you actually have systems in place. To those of you who have the wonderful book in front of you that was written by Wimbai, if you open page 61, there's a wonderful quote in that book. Yes, I've read it today, and I've seen that quote about systems on page 61. So please make sure you read that book. And I agree with that. And yes, it's page 61. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not sure if she's selling the copies or giving them away, but please make sure you do get one and read that. You need to make sure that you have adequate systems within your organization. There's a lot of benefits that systems bring: efficiency, real-time information, compliance. You need to make sure you understand or you maintain clear processes within your organization. Now, when you talk of processes, it's effectively how are things done? And this is where your procedures come into play. If it's not you and it's John who's doing the work, is it done to the same quality? I.e., think McDonald's. You have never had a Happy Meal from Newcastle that tastes different to a Happy Meal in Bournemouth. It all tastes the same. And why is that? Why can't your business run like that? Staff already know if it's X who's done the rota, it's perfect this week. If it's done by Y, hey, people know. They know. Why? Why is that the place? Do you have the systems in place? Do you have the processes in place? And you have the procedures that if you give a junior, they can follow those procedures in order to replicate that process that you have. This does not only extend to accounting, it's also to HR, yeah, and to everything else that you do. Even winning tenders and bidding tenders. Do you have a process? Do you have a system for that? Or essentially it's whatever comes your way, then you jump on it. Now, having said that, the HMRC recently published the annual report for the 24-25. And I just wanted to highlight some key figures to you. Because I think as Godfrey always says, our people don't like to read, but I know you guys like to read. So I'll spell them out for you. So you can see essentially 48 billion secured through enforcement and compliance work. This was a record high. They resolved 96.7 billion in tax debt in 24-25. The total tax collected, I'm sure you can see that. Why am I bringing this to your attention? We owe HMRC a lot of money. And I'm sure you know Rachel is looking for money. Yeah? Unless you voted Labour, that's why you didn't answer. Huh? Exactly. We know they're looking for money and they're coming to knock. If they've visited you, please don't raise your hand up, but they do come. And when they come, the process is not nice. And essentially, you are started or you're running your business, and yet there is a responsibility that you're neglecting that will or can impact how your business is going to be operating. Now, why are they doing this? So essentially, they're focusing on the tax gap. Like I said, Rachel is after money and they're coming for their money. They've invested a lot into AI and people who are essentially responsible for following up this debt. Now, this is why I asked on the questionnaire that we did, are you up to date with your HMRC liability, especially PAYE? The reason why PAYE is so important is because it's not your money. I'll say that again slowly so that you understand. PAYE is not your money. You're withholding that money from your employees and you're meant to pass it on to HMRC. Yeah? Now you're withholding money from employees and then you're using that money to buy I think it's the new Range Rovers and or Land Rover, the Defenders. Yeah, exactly, you know. And you're doing that. So for that, they don't take it lightly. And what we also see on that is your director's loan account is always overdrawn if that's the case. So you have withdrawn or withheld money from HMRC. You have used that money for personal gain, i.e., director's loan, and I might get started again. And effectively, it's one of those things where when they come, they want their money. And when they come, what does that process look like? And essentially, this is what I just wanted to zone in for the last 5 minutes before I sit down. Essentially, what triggers HMRC inspection? If you're late filing and paying your dues. So if you're late filing your RTIs month on month, if you're not making payments on time, be it corporation tax, VAT, and PAYE liabilities. Financial discrepancies. This year you had, excuse me, 20 employees with a loss of 500,000. Next year you're going to have 200 employees with a profit of 1,000. They pick up those things, those anomalies. They're picked up and they'll come and they'll inspect. And when they come, lo and behold, you don't have any systems or processes in place. I know you know what I'm talking about. Yes, I know you do. I know you do. And there are always early warning signs. I'm not sure to those who read, there's actually a reward scheme for whistleblowers now. So if you whistleblow to someone who owes tax liability for more than 1 million, I think you can recoup up to 15 or 30%, which the government will give you for any successful claim. Yeah. And imagine the employees you're not treating well and oversharing with stuff. Uh, Now, when an enforcement happens or when they come because you owe them a lot of money, what essentially happens, again, in a nutshell, they can give you urgent repayment demands, which are unrealistic. Remember, you have taken the money, withheld it, you have spent the money so you don't have it. So they will come and they'll say, hey, we're freezing your accounts, your bank accounts, nothing can come out, you can't pay your stuff until you pay us, which is ridiculous, right? They also come with strict enforcement actions, essentially threaten to take you to court, and in most cases they do. And this is what I just want to focus on, winding up petition. If we heard of a winding up petition, a CVA, well, I can see one or two who pretend like they don't know what I'm talking about. It's okay, guys. So essentially, winding up petition and CVAs. What is a CVA winding up petition? So essentially, a winding up petition is simply a legal action to liquidate your company. This is HMRC coming and saying, hey, you owe us money and we're going to shut you down so that we recoup what you owe us. When they do that, they sell your assets so that they can get their money back. But guess what? Our businesses are weak on the balance sheet. Most of our care businesses don't own any assets apart from vehicles. Yeah? We don't invest in office buildings. We don't invest in anything else. If we are lucky, we're buying one or two company cars and computers, of course. And the money that you owe them is not enough to be recouped if they sell that. That's effectively a winding up petition. Yeah, and you can see here, it typically starts from owing more than 750 pounds, not 750,000, 750 pounds. Anyway, so winding up petition has happened. There comes company voluntary agreement. What is a CVA? A CVA is essentially a legal binding repayment plan to avoid liquidation. So effectively, your balance sheet is weak. You can't pay them if they take what you have. So they come up with a plan. Say, hey, let's set up a plan where your company doesn't close, but you pay us back our money. And this is where you essentially enter what's called a CVA. Why would you enter CVA? You enter that to make sure that your company continues to trade. You're not disadvantaging your employees, and essentially you're looking after that responsibility that we spoke about. Now, when that happens, it's really, really important to make sure that you're working with Blue Actor. Sorry, to make sure you have a good accountant. And I'll explain why that is. When you're setting up a payment plan with them, set up a payment plan for what you can pay. Don't be overzealous in thinking, if I set up a payment plan, I'm out of this mess, then you promise them what you can deliver. Now, how do you know how much you can pay? You look at your records, your financial records. Do you have management accounts in place? Are you keeping track? Do you know what comes in, what's going out? I have seen someone who's promised to pay them 35,000 a month. It's only 35,000. You're taking over 2 million. But guess what? They don't have 35,000 a month. And now what happens when you default on that payment plan? They're not going to be as lenient as the first time that you set up a payment plan, a CVA, because you've defaulted from it. So when you are setting up a liquidation, make sure that you have a good accountant and your records are in check. They will ask to see all these things. And yes, they actually go to high court. So you're going to need a good solicitor as well. I have seen someone set up a ridiculous payment plan because they had a good lawyer in their corner. And I've seen someone get squeezed out because they just didn't have a good lawyer in their corner. It's worth it paying extra bucks for a very, very good lawyer who is specialized in this if you're going through this process. I will repeat, it is worth it to invest in a good lawyer if you find yourself in this situation, because that could be the difference between your business surviving or your business going under. How can we help, or how can your current accountant help? Because there are many other good accountants out there. Early financial risk. Please don't ignore us when we tell you. It's your business, your money. Yes, we know. We can only tell you, but we can't twist your arm. Although sometimes I wish we could, but hey, we can't. So when your accountant points something out to you, please listen and take action to that. Because there are essentially, many a times, there's early warning signs that we see. You're spending more than you're earning. You're killing the golden goose instead of harvesting the eggs. We see it, and the numbers tell the story, and we tell it to you guys. But some of you guys don't want to listen. Clear communication with your solicitor or your lawyer. It's really important. Be honest. Yeah. We know you've taken money from the business, you've built houses in Zimbabwe. Be honest. I can see here someone laughing, I know. Striking a chord. Anyway, what guidance can I give you? I think, put simply, guys, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Pay your tax. I will repeat again. Yes, an accountant who's actually saying pay your tax, right? Pay your tax. If you have tax liability that is due, pay it. Sometimes it's not a bad thing to pay tax. Of course, we'll reduce it to the lowest it can be legally, but pay your tax. Pay your tax to make sure that your business can continue to trade. You have employees, sorry, you're looking after, families who are dependent on you. And essentially here you're building something that can actually outlive you and can remain, or you can sell it to invest in something else. So make sure that you're up to date with your tax liabilities. If you notice that you're in trouble, go to HMRC first before they come to you. They will help you set up a payment plan separate to your CVA. They are very much open to that. But you have to go to them first, again, with the facts, the data, and then discuss it with them. Have financial audits, robust financial audits. I always hear of a mock CQC inspection or mock Ofsted inspection. I've never heard of a mock financial inspection. Have you? No. Why do we ignore finance? See, I was hoping there was one brief person who was just going to say that. Sorry? Too many skeletons in the family. I like that. I like that. Ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to start off by dampening the mood a bit. I know HMRC is never an easy topic to talk about, but hopefully that doesn't set the tone for the day. The worst is over. The best is yet to come. The fun stuff that you guys actually paid money to come in here. And I hope I've managed to educate one or two and you've taken at least something from what you've seen. Now, if HMRC is on your back because they owe you money, please don't come see us. Today I'm relaxed, but if you'd like us to have a chat, please do come visit us. As we are nearing Christmas and in the spirit of giving, again, your phones, yes, I did ask at the start. At Blue Hector, we're business for good. We would like to make a donation on your behalf. So please scan that, choose a cause that's next to your heart, and we at Blue Hector will make that happen this Christmas as a way of just saying thank you for working with us and for trusting us to work with you this year. Thank you so much.